Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Hey, everybody.
You got Johnny Gunn's Investigation with True Crime Lounge with Becky, October 5th. Here to bring you some updated information on the Kohlberger alleged murderer of the Idaho 4.
Well, I don't know if we can call it updated. It's just our take on things.
Yeah, just our take and everything that we've brought to you tonight is what our opinions are on what we've been going over now for the last 2 weeks on this murder situation in Idaho, because it's been going up and down, like I told you last week, like a roller coaster. But we have some great footage that we're going to go over today, and then we'll just take our opinions. We want your opinion, our opinion, put it together,
To
and
see
let's
what
figure
we come
this
up
out.
with.
Let's see what we can come up with. Because wait do you see the footage we have tonight?
All right. So we're just going to get started with okay, the concept is it's a party house, right? Everyone knows it's already a party house. But was there more happening and going on behind the scenes than what actually meets the eye? So I have a clip
From what the
here.
witnesses.
It does show the backyard, just how much of partying they were doing. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you guys. As you can see underneath this table, where they probably
We
were
recycle.
playing beer pong a lot. We can see a lot of cans, cups, a lot of alcohol intake, assuming, okay?
Yeah.
But we're just going to,
And everybody know the everybody around the area, college students from that college all the way to Washington, and taxi cab drivers knew that was the place to party and went on, and the drugs went on.
yeah, it was a locally known kind of party house. Actually, the whole street is considered that. It's called Greek Row. They
Greek Row.
consider either behind the house or it's like same street. Anyway, that whole area is
The
considered
whole
Greek
area is
Row.
just a party. That's where everybody goes to party on the weekends and during the week and all night, all hours of the night.
Yeah. So moving into kind of what I've come across and really put together, also listening to other people's thoughts and ideals about what really happened, like what was really going on. We came across this information about two of the girls' parents. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we have Xana Kernodle, her mother. We have Kara Kernodle,
Mm-hmm.
aka Kara Northington. Northington? Is that how you say it? I don't know. Sometimes I get names messed up, so bear with me.
Coronado,
Yeah, it's Coronado, but she's also
and that's Kara, that's Zinnia's
Northington.
mother.
Yeah. So we have here where she's kind of had like a long stint run in with, law enforcement when it comes to drugs.
A lot.
She's got charges. She's got a rap sheet of being, drug possession, drug
Mm-hmm.
delivery, things like that. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of look at what kind of led to where I'm going with this. So with this one, as you can see on the date here, it's November 17th. Well, if you know the story, the massacres happened on November 13th.
13th.
So this is 4 days later after her daughter, her beautiful daughter, life was taken from this earth. And she had actually was supposed to be getting sentenced on that day. And as you can see, it was a failure to appear because, well, she relapsed. So she
Mm-hmm.
fell off the wagon and she went back to using. Well, then that weekend, she was
Here
picked
she
up
goes.
again for two more charges, and it was controlled substance possession. So on the 19th, she was picked up
Relapsing.
so that she could be sentenced.
Right.
Well,
This
they
is
let her
her.
out again, okay? And they let her out on her own recognizance because they wanted her to go ahead and go to her daughter's memorial in December.
What a difference of the picture from what the picture you showed before to this one right here.
Yeah, what drugs can
How
do.
it changes you quick.
Yeah. Well, also, she was on her own reconnaissance. Well, her
Right.
daughter, she's emotional, she's upset, and
Hmm.
she skedaddled. She did not stick
She did.
around. She did not go back.
Nope.
And she ended up going to Washington.
She took off.
Yeah. So they picked her up in Washington. They got her. They brought her, extradited her back to Idaho to serve her sentence. For her, she was actually charged with drug possession. She had two
Hmm.
felony charges. And a misdemeanor. So she had the drug delivery as well. So she had two felony charges that she had to serve, and she had like $100,000 bond on her. Things weren't really going really good for her. So
No, not at all. She was in a bad slope, which it seems like all their family members were in a bad situation here when it came to the drugs in that area, because that whole town was known for an epidemic of pills.
well, it was also in that county. So there's a lot
Hmm.
of like drugs, and a lot of people kind of succumb to that
Yeah.
life, unfortunately. And this
Yep.
is
The stepmother,
Corey
Corey Hatrock,
Hatrock, right? Corey Hatrock.
Maddie's stepmother.
Hmm.
Okay.
She's Corey's Maddie's stepmother,
Yeah, Maddie's
and
stepmom.
Maddie's dad, Benjamin.
Hmm.
He also had drug charges. So
Yes.
they were they had issues with drugs. Going into it with Corey's, she had felony charges, whereas Benjamin only had a misdemeanor, and that was back in 2020, 2021.
And getting arrested together.
And so we see here she had possession of controlled substance with the intent to deliver, and the
Hmm.
controlled substance possession. So the first one is a
Wow.
misdemeanor, and the other two are the felony charges.
Felonies.
And she pled not guilty to both of those.
Yep.
So in September 12th here, two of those felony charges were actually dismissed. So she was able to get those charges dismissed because she took a plea deal. Okay, so when she took the plea deal, let's see here, she was being sentenced on November 7th. This was a few days before the actual massacre happened. So both
Hmm.
mothers, okay, of both girls in this house that this massacre had happened, they were being sentenced within a week of this massacre happening
Of the massacre.
to their children.
Yeah. And just to answer this message, just leading to the point to what we're talking about on this end is why the way how it's going back to this house with the college kids, how these two parents had an influence of what was going on in the house where their kids lived and went to college. So that's why we're bringing this point up, is how this is going to lead into the alleged murders on who killed their kids and what made it come about. The drugs being into that home, they were using that home to push and traffic drugs through. So this is what's leading up to that, is their parents into the drugs, bring it into their kids into that house they lived in, is the reason why when you're doing drugs and you bring it into the house, if you owe people money for drugs or anything, who knows what can happen, and you can get murdered.
Right. So the point is, okay, I know I got a comment here about what's the point? The point is, this is all about what is happening in the environment of why this has transpired. So
Why
going
these kids are
forward,
killed.
with this, as you can see on this calendar, within a week of the massacres happening, they were two brought up on sentencing for drugs. The whole area basically had a lot of drug problems because of just the in and out. energy
Fentanyl.
that we all deal with when it comes to that life that we have to deal with now.
Deal with that.
They're everywhere.
It's a shame,
All of those things. Anyway, so with that being said, the three parents that actually had these charges on them, they were also being represented by the same defense attorney as
Hmm.
Koberger.
Yep.
So
She handled all their cases.
yeah, so she had to step down and kind of and I know that Xana's mother, Cara, was very upset and felt betrayed by Anna Taylor here because she was representing her. And then all of a sudden, she's representing this man that is being accused of taking her daughter's life, which is very upsetting. I mean, it's a lot, to tell you the truth.
Right. Definitely. And again, this is all leading up to why their kids were
It's
murdered.
all alleged. I mean, it's
Okay.
all just, it's kind of just probing into what's going on, what's happening, what was really going on behind the scenes, right? So
Hmm.
I have this little clip here from a taxi driver in the area, and they were speaking to the Idaho Tribune, and it says that a local taxi driver claims that the area where the 4 University of Idaho students were taken, their lives were taken, is a known party spot, adding that that's where people go to get drugs. So it was a known spot. Even the taxi drivers, whoever, knew that that was a place to get what you needed if you needed something.
Anything you needed, it's well known. The media has brought it out so many different times. And for people to sit here and turn this into where we shouldn't be going against their family about doing drugs.
Well,
Well, I hate to tell you,
I'm not.
listeners.
I'm not going against anybody, and I'm not
No, no,
trying to
no.
point any
What
fingers.
not I'm responding to the message here. So their kids were killed. We're leading up to why they were killed. Okay. That's the whole motive of this. So when your parents are doing hardcore drugs and trafficking drugs, fentanyl, not marijuana, fentanyl into the kids of college students, it's going to cause problems.
But okay, you didn't
So
say that because we don't have any of that. I'm saying that moving forward, okay, they knew that that was a spot. The taxi driver said and claimed that that was a spot that people would go and get what
yeah,
they needed to get. I'm
all the
just
college
thinking
students
and
said the same
showing
thing.
that the parents also had linkages to the district attorney. They had links to the community where it was kind of that underbelly of the community. So what can transpire during that? You
Hmm.
make your own conclusions on that.
Exactly.
And then I also have this one clip here where now I was not aware, but it's saying that Koberger revealed how he had his own kind of addiction problem. So
Hmm.
why was he in that area? Now on
That's the whole idea. That's the motive. What's the motive of the murders of 4 people? This isn't why people are addicted to drugs and we're going against people that are addicted to drugs. It's why 4 people were murdered, kids taken from their families. People have been bringing up allegedly from other news sources, cartel even coming into the play on this, because in that area where these college students are, the gangs that handle all the drugs are connected to the cartel, and they will come after you if you owe money or if something's coming up. If you get arrested, and you can talk, and when you're going to court, there's a motive to the reason why we're discussing the drugs. We're not putting anybody down about it. It's the motive of why her daughter was murdered. The motive.
right.
That's this
Well, we
whole
don't know what
story.
the motive is.
Right. We don't know, but it's going to be all coming out. But the main factor is it's all coming out now in the media. It's the drug house of the community and the college. Other students from Washington knew and stated to the media that was the drug house. Not only doing drugs, trafficking drugs. That's a major thing. So we don't want to protect that. Do we feel sorry for people that are addicted to drugs? Of course we do. Do we feel sorry for her mom? Yes, but guess what? Her daughter was killed. That's the main motive here. Why? Why were they killed? Why was Kohlberger always driving in that area? Always seen at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, all these ping times that they're out running around at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And this here states that he had a heroin problem since high school. So he could be allegedly out there buying drugs, or why was he there that night? That's what this is all coming down to. Who murdered 4 college students? Okay, take it away.
Yeah, so that's what I have here was with the BryanKohberger.
Yeah, and that's what this all goes. What's going on at that house all night long? Okay, what are these kids doing? Waking up the next morning, okay, seeing witnesses. We showed that on our last tape. The witnesses stating what they saw outside, them sitting out there talking, smoking, while there's 4 dead people in the house where they're at. This is all going back to the motive.
A witness account, yeah.
That was a witness account. But again, we're not putting anybody down about their drug addictions. We're putting down about their little children that are in college and their adult parents are trafficking drugs and using drugs and using the house allegedly to traffic drugs through. This is what it's all going back to. Who came in there in 9 minutes and murdered Kaylee, Madison, Zinnia, and Ethan? So now we have not just the 2 parents, we have the stepmother, the mom, and the dad, who all has a circle of that drugs in the area. Not just having possession of drugs, but they were also charged for distribution of drugs. So now, again, this is just us speaking here on the behalf of what's going on. Why did they take so long the next morning to call the police? What would be the reason of why they didn't call the police right away? Because they had to hide everything and get rid of everything out of the house that could be there. Every bit of drugs, evidence, nothing was found. They needed all that time to get rid of the evidence. And this is all boiling back to why 4 people were murdered. Not because we're sitting here talking about their family being addicted to drugs. Unfortunately, they are. They're in jail right now. So we're just here worrying and trying to get closure on the 4 victims who were murdered.
Well,
that's what everybody should be worried about.
My thing too is basically, okay, so we've seen before that BryanKohberger, from the pings and when they followed him, where he was going, and he was seen since August, okay, of that year in that vicinity. He was getting pinged.
Pinged constantly
Well,
in that same area.
He got pinged. And
at what times? All at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
My thing is this: he also has this problem. Was this a place that he went because, it is a known place to get your drugs from?
Right. And, with this information that we get, we don't just pull this out of our hats. This is actual facts information. So whoever this Heather is, I'm sorry, people are addicted to drugs. Of course, we feel sorry for them. I lost a brother who was murdered, okay, when I was young, who had a drug issue. So I know it closest to the heart, okay? I lost a family member, actually 2. So this is about going back to losing your kids, okay, to a murderer. And now it's all going back to the one thing, drugs.
Well, I think that a lot of people would kind of be offended or feel offended because
they had their problems of their own.
It has nothing to do with what has happened, but
right,
everything is interlinked
to drugs.
Well, I'm just saying in general, your parents, your family, everything, it's like we're all interlinked at some point in our life. Exactly. So could this have been that? I'm not saying that this is that, but what do you think for me, when I found out this information about Kohlberger having his own problem, and then
Exactly.
everybody in the area knowing that this is a known place to go to score, to get what you need. Like,
Even the taxi cab drivers know.
right.
Everybody knows this is the home to go to get your drugs. They're trafficking drugs through
Well, I
there.
don't
Now,
know
where are they
about
getting
that.
their
So
drugs?
it's no, I know, but we can't make that kind of.
And then here we go with all the news that's media that's coming out about the cartel.
I know, but that's something else. And I
So
mean,
let's think of
me,
this for everybody who's been addicted to drugs out there. Let's not put your kids in danger with the cartel because they don't play around. They come closest to your heart. And it's been happening in that area with other situations of people being murdered and even people being left alive in their home where the other victims who were targeted. And there was a reason why they were targeted: drugs, gangs related to the cartel. So everybody were trying to get to the point of this to have closure, find out why 4 kids were murdered. So it's not here to talk anybody down on drugs. Okay. We all partied in our lifetime. We all done stupid
not all of
things,
us.
but it's not all of us. Right. Exactly. But the point of the matter is finding out why kids got murdered, not sitting here trying to put people down on drugs. This is just what's going on. They got arrested. This all happened the same week. They got charges. They got thrown in jail. The mother
Right.
was
We
released to
don't know
come to the
what the
daughter's
connection is,
funeral.
but there is coincidences that are
Definitely
happening,
big
and it's
coincidence. And it's all going to come out because the law, they do have the information. It's a gag order. So you all will be surprised what really is going to come out of this. And it's all going to go back to the drugs. Because when you're trafficking that kind of a drug
well, maybe we'll
and
see
you're
what
using that
happens.
type of a drug, nothing good comes
This is
out of
just a
it.
theory,
And it's just our theory. It's our
right?
opinion
Not
coming
mine.
to your guys' opinion. We're not putting anybody down that's addicted to drugs out there. Trust me,
It's not
or alcoholism or anything. We're here to figure out why 4 college kids were murdered brutally and viciously, and who did it in 9 minutes, and what was their motive. That's
right.
the whole thing. So let's focus on that, not focusing on people worrying about we're putting people down on drug addictions because we're not. Okay.
All right.
So,
All right.
so we're going to come back with a lot more footage. We have a lot more things that are coming out that are going to lead back to the drugs.
Well, my
Okay.
thing was this. I just wanted to put this out there, put this information. I know it's already out there, but I wanted to kind of see what other people were thinking.
Yeah.
Get the pulse of the audience. I do know that it is a sensitive topic for some, so I am not trying to point the finger or do any of that. What I'm trying to
Not
say
at
is
all.
everything is
We
in
feel
the
bad
room.
for her mom. We want her mom to be okay. We want her mom to get better. And we want her mom to be able to come back into this world and be such a better person and live life. And that's what we all want to do. And for anybody out there today that does listen to the show that has kids, you may want to think twice about what you say, because just imagine that was your child. Okay. That's what we have to think about. 4 kids were murdered. And now, unfortunately, everything that we look at, everything we listen to, everything that we investigate is all going back to drugs, 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 drugs out of that house. The mother, stepmother, father, not a good thing. So that's the main thing, is all putting our thoughts together and figuring out what comes down to murdering these kids. That's the main thing. So we have Johnny Gunn's investigation, True Crime Lounge with Becky, trying to bring as much as we can. This footage took a lot of work for us to
Well,
get.
it was
We feel
fine.
terrible that
It's not that.
what's that?
It's just some clips here and there, and I just wanted,
This is the news.
yeah, I just wanted to get other people's, like I said, take the pulse. But it is a
Yeah,
sensitive topic.
it is. But this is news. We have to bring everything that's coming to us, coming to you.
Well,
We're not going to hide that the mother was addicted to drugs, and we're
yeah,
sitting here saying,
nobody is.
you guys need to
That's
quit
all public
talking.
knowledge.
It's public knowledge. This is what we have to bring up. It's going to be coming out all in the courts. It's going to be dragging everybody in. And now we have
Anytime us
Dylan.
get in trouble, I mean, it's all public record. So
It's public record. Yeah. And then Dylan, one of the survivors, is in hiding right now. Now, Heather, you have kids. Let's ask yourself this. Why is the other college student, Dylan, hiding right now? What is she so
people,
scared of? People,
because
plus
she's
who's
being
coming
bullied
after
right
her?
now. She says she's being bullied,
She's
and
being bullied.
hiding, so she's isolating.
That's right. So let's think about the kids here, okay? Because we're adults. Let's think about these 20-year-olds that are in college and wondering why they died, what the motive was, and figure out how we can come up with a clue. This is
Yeah,
all
that's all
coming
it
from
is.
the
It's just
media.
like, what clue is this? It's like playing
That's
the
it.
game of Clue, not
We're not here to offend anybody, but we are here to bring you exactly what local news don't bring you. We bring it right to you. We do feel sorry for the family members that are on drugs. We want them to get better.
Okay. So, like I
Okay.
said, my last point for this clip was that what was BryanKohberger doing in that area? Like, was it for other
Why?
reasons? We don't know, but we do know that his phone was pinged in that area several times before the night that that massacre happened.
Right.
So that's my point. That's
And
what
then
I
he
would
was
like to leave
pinged.
you all with. You go ahead, Johnny Guns.
And then the other thing, he was pinged at that location and at times. And then we all got to go back to the evidence. The one thing that was left underneath the body that his DNA was on.
Right.
Okay.
So he was,
We have to go.
yeah,
So he was in that
there was some
home.
presence there. There was something.
There was some presence there. Okay. Was he set up? Did he do this murder on his own? Which
I don't know.
I'm truly thinking in my mind, I believe he did, the way it's looking.
I just
Okay.
can't wait until we can get some actual
Me
answers.
too. Sorry we offended anybody about the drug addictions, but unfortunately that's the
I
news.
don't
That's
know if
what
it was
comes
about the
out.
drug addictions, but I think that a lot of people can get offended because they're trying to say like gang related, and then we have these
Yeah.
four college kids. Like nobody wants to associate that. That's not an association that people want to have.
No, and that's a shame. We didn't think it was
But
going to
I'm
go
not
this way.
associating. Okay. Like, I'm
No,
not.
this is what was brought to us. We bring it to you. This is what YouTube is about. We're able to bring you
Right. So we're
everything.
just going to just wrap up right now because, like I said,
Yep.
that's the point of tonight's show, and we don't have to keep defending. It is
No,
what it
let's
is.
just enjoy our night, everybody. And just remember, we want to keep our kids safe no matter what it takes. Okay. So we'll be back in tomorrow, bringing you some more footage. And you guys have a great night out there. And remember, be safe out there.
Good night, everybody.